And what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another live stream of JSR-RADIO. Listen to this music, y'all. Wow, just so peaceful. I actually had the stream set up to start a little bit ago, a few minutes ago. However, I tried to set up my microphone settings so it could, you know, be kind of good. Of course, the stream was like, nope, I don't like that. Welcome, everybody. We are playing Stanley's Parable, the Ultra Deluxe version this week. I was going to stream Flight Sim, which I had made an announcement on my YouTube channel that I was going to do. So we're going to do that tomorrow night anyways. I can't find my throttle quadrant cord. So, yeah. So, the interesting thing about this game, I had to set my home time. I've never played this game before. So we're going to play it today. And I'm going to turn on, you guys can hear what this sounds like. We can either leave the music going, or we could turn it off. See how it goes. It gets distracting. I think it's peaceful. I'm gonna turn it down. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm going to turn it down. Honestly, I think it needs to be in the background. Yeah. So let's just say. Now, like I said, I've never played this game. I've watched a lot of people play it, and I kind of know what goes on, but I've never experienced it. If that makes any sense. I'm just gonna do a quick audio check to make sure I'm good. You probably hear me in the background. Good. Audio is good. I think we are ready to embark on an amazing journey. I've never played the base game. So accessible. It is. Alright. So like I said, I've never played this game before. I've never played the beginning. I've never played the first game. Let's begin, shall we? The end is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end. We'll put that actually right in the middle. I don't even know if it's going to show anything or make anything, but we're going to try it. I want to give a shout out to my editor, Majito01.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
He was very happy.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions. call a meeting or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
No, that's what I'm supposed to do. Hold on, y'all. Just gonna make it so you guys can see the lyrics. I know it's gonna be in the way of something eventually. Oh, wow, look at this. This is cool looking.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I know a lot of you play this differently.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Trace? Hello? Anybody here? Oh. Okay. All the computers are empty. Who farted? Okay. Something that was really whack. Ooh, what's going on down there?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
No, he didn't.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
I am rebellion.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Of course, because I'm a rebellion. That's what I do. Who wants to follow orders? Breaking the rules is what I do. What is going on over there? Hello? 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 Anybody there? Oh.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Yep, sure did. Soda? Can I have a soda? Boy, these got really pixelated. I got real close to the
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Give me my cold drink! Look how weird it is. Back here, look.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality.
Don't talk about my
It's
personality.
possible that this is why everyone left.
Oh, okay. So it's me. I started at the airport there.
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue, but when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
No, I can't make videos about it, sorry. Unfortunately.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
Wait. What? No! Was there another open door? Oh. Okay. Oh, that door. But this door is open too. Come on, son.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
I'm gonna love this game, I really am. Oh my god, I already love it. Why does that table seem like I'm really short? What is going on? I'm already breaking the rules. What is this place? This is cool. Do not jump from the cargo lift while it's in motion. Will cause death. Really? What if I decided to... Oh, Jesus!
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death.
I did not mean
Good
to do
job,
that.
Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
But I didn't mean to do that, though. That was an accident. There was... Oh, my goodness. I was not meant to do that. We're going to go back. We're going to do it again.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I didn't mean to do it. It was an accident. I'm going to pretend that didn't happen. I'm going to play this again for like an actual video. Because even though my reactions won't be genuine, but there's so much stuff that happens in this game, like, I will be okay with it.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Can't jump.
Wow. Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider.
Turn it down a little bit for you guys. I feel like it's a little tad wee bit too loud.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room.
That's what happens if I stay
A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Yep, look at that painting, and that painting, and a notepad, and a door that won't open.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
It's a coffee maker. Can I have some coffee? Coffee?
Stanley sat around, but at last he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
Oh, we're going this way again because I'm trying to see what happens.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Just making sure that door wouldn't open again.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Who's her? Wait.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
I'm not even married. What do you mean? There's a dark room. Dark room, dark room, dark room, dark room.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
If I don't. Hello? What happened?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
I've literally just started this game and we're already off to a weird start.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Good morning, employees. Press
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his
That went
existence.
from 0 to, oh my goodness, in like 5 seconds.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Really?
So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Continue the story.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions, and down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly
Now I'm
be?
back at my desk.
In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Do it. But do it. But do it.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him.
Play this for a little bit, but I think
compelled
I'm gonna have to make
I
this into a
must.
series.
Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Oh, what happened? What happened? The end is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end. It's never the end! Yes! Oh, sorry. Alright, now we're gonna do this the right way.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Maybe I did.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Tomorrow, complete today's unfinished objects. Future is yesterday's, tomorrow is now. Nice. Jim. Using slides to assure employee that everything is okay. Make sure your slide has a slick graphic header. Throw some bevel on the text. This will ensure calm. Everyone is unique. You, most of all. Ooh, broom closet. Oh, I can go in the broom closet.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Nope, not gonna do it.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Just gonna be a rebel. Just gonna be a rebel.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA. Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing?
Yeah.
Why? Please offer me some explanation here.
Because
I'm genuinely confused.
I'm enjoying the closet. I mean, look at the closet. Look at the closet. Okay, look. First of all, okay, there's tools.
You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right?
Uh-huh.
If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out.
There's
It
tape
didn't
in
even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
Just gonna stand in here and see how long I can stand in for.
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friend, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
I don't have it.
Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Oh wow, am I now? Okay.
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead.
Obviously
You
not.
got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead.
No, they're
They
not.
have fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species.
not?
Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
Okay. Just still standing in here. I'm just gonna see how long it takes for him to. standing here. We'll see how long it takes. See if it says anything else. Yeah, okay. Now we're gonna go ahead and walk out. Let's see. Shall we walk out? Walk out? Okay. Oh, what happened? No, don't freeze.
Ah, second player. It's good to have you on
Hey, how's it
board.
going?
I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you.
But I'm the same person.
You too? Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. A fish? Fungus? Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
Pick up the story. Funny. Okay, back up we go.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
But I want to go downstairs, though. Alright, we'll just go upstairs. Ooh, what's down there? Oh, here it is.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again
big
stunned
office.
to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
2845. 2845. 2845. 284.
Stanley just sat around twiddling, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing.
Hello.
He stepped into the newly opened
I want to check some settings here. Turn down this to maybe a 3.
passageway.
Oh no, that's too much. Too much. Too much. Too much. Too much. A little better, yeah. Oh wow. Different sounds? Okay, I know how that sounds. Wow. Oh, look, an elevator. Oh, should I go in here? Yeah, we're gonna push up. Oh, what's going on? We're in an elevator! The end is never the end is never the end.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Oh, wow.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
It says escape right there. Alright, we're gonna play through it the regular way just the first time, because I want to see what happens. I know there's a boatload of content. And
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Fall off the edge. Okay, right. Can you fall off the edge? Is there an ending for that? Nope. Step. Let's go. Let's find out. Come on. What is this place? Cameras? Curious.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
427, 427, 427. God, it's so, like, weird. Da 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 da.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Jump off the edge.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human
On or
life.
off?
For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
I'm so confused. Which one should I do? Let's turn it on.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you?
Yep.
After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley,
Turn it off?
I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system.
Well,
in the event that this machine is
Should've turned it
activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex.
well.
How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star.
Yeah.
It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me,
These buttons
where we're
absolutely
going,
do nothing,
what all
by the
this
way.
means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better.
Yeah.
My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room.
Just have
These
fun. I already
number
know.
buttons. No, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button. Or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's
This is where I will
fine.
go out.
But I'm going to destroy
Right here.
it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever.
Gone. Well, that was quite interesting. Yeah. Shall we have another go around? See what we can do differently. I think that's probably going to be a good idea. We'll go one more round and then we'll end the stream because it's late night for me.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
You left your computers on. Input received.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
I did.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk?
Wait.
All because he believed
Wasn't I
everyone
just
had
in here?
vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever
Because
he
of triggers,
went?
that's why.
And
I'm
for
a-
that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming!
Player
he
capsule
yelled.
with no
This
body.
is all a dream.
These are
What
triggers.
a
that I
relief
just
Stanley
hit. Close the
felt
door.
to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to
keep
go
moving.
back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still
That's
not
cool.
woken up. How was he
That's so
remaining
freaking
so
cool.
lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head
Yeah, why is there a
dictating
voice?
everything that I'm doing and thinking?
Drink.
Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as
Player
awake
resets
right
itself.
now as he's ever been in his life.
I'm in the same level. Nothing's
Now,
changed.
hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock
This
to
level is
Stanley.
the same.
After all, he knew for certain,
Just
beyond a doubt,
repeating it.
that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my
Not
job.
married, Stanley.
All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Are you though? You don't sound okay. Do you need help there, buddy?
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Fell down. Stanley.
This
fell
is the
down and bumped his
story
head.
of a woman named Mariella.
Who?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there.